Well, 360-degree ocean views, delicious food and unbeatable live entertainment. Those are just some of the reasons Australians love cruising. And now we're being invited to experience all the perks of life on the high seas from our living rooms.
Because P&O has just set sail on its first ever virtual cruise. Virtual. So for more on this, we are joined by Quentin Long from Australian Traveller magazine in here in the studio. Huh?
That's a bit like that, isn't it? When I read about it, I was like, what's going on here? Yeah, Ali, that's a great question, huh? So basically what we've got is P&O are putting up a virtual cruise through their social media channels where you can tune in and see what it's like. They're doing it really to sort of help their guests and sort of keep them inspired and keep their chin up, but also to help people understand what a cruise really looks like.
You get virtual gastro as well.
That can be arranged. We can actually have that delivered to you, Karl.
Wouldn't mind.
But moving on, no, the beauty is they're going to have videos. They're going to have a game show. Actually, I reckon, Karl, you should tune into the game show, which is Guess That Tune. They'll have one of their favourite sort of onboard entertainers run that this afternoon at 7 o'clock on Facebook Live. Then they've got a series of videos that show you what it's like to be on a cruise, then get off and go to Morton Island.
It feels good. It feels like it's coming back, and the online cruise kicked off yesterday. How's it all going?
Yeah, good. Look, so far they've got, like, if you read through the comments, it really gives you a feel for what people love about cruising. They really, really get into it and they miss it. You know, our surveys are showing that about 2 to 3% of Australians, all they want to do right now is get on a cruise. And so this is a way of fulfilling that. And the other thing that I think is really interesting that not many people have thought about is the biggest constraint we have on tourism in Australia at the moment is capacity. We can't book any more. Cruising is a great way to solve that problem. You don't have any problems about staffing because they bring their staff with them. Obviously, they have to go through the protocols. It could actually be a great way to alleviate some of the pressure that is on actually the tourism infrastructure.
I think it sounds fun. Just pack your suitcase, stay in your living room for 4 days and go for a cruise. Can't do anything else. I'm on my cruise, I'm on my holiday.
Absolutely.
Expectation is fun these days.
Yeah. The only problem is you've got to order Uber Eats or something like that to get your food delivered to get that experience,
But that's been the biggest issue across the industry as a whole, isn't it? That's staffing. They can't get the staff.
Yeah, and look, it really is a major problem. Because we don't have working holiday visa makers here in Australia, we have problems like, for example, Hamilton Island. They usually have 3,000 employees. Do you know how many they've got at the moment? 1,200. And they're desperately seeking more employees. And I think that's the interesting thing about that is also that JobKeeper ending was trying to push people back into that kind of work. But the cruise industry is globally a really interesting point, Karl and Ali, is that we are starting to see that take off. You know, in June, you'll see celebrity cruisers start to cruise in the Caribbean. You'll start to see Holland America is going to take off from Greece in August. Royal Caribbean has been actually cruising out of Singapore since December, very, very successfully. The whole world is about to start cruising in June. It looks like the Americans are going to start cruising in July.
Well, Screw Turner was saying that they're looking at next year, June, July, and the year after. The bookings are phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And so if people are vaccinated as well, you'd have to think that that's going to be even more demand.
Yeah, look, if you actually talk to all the cruise lines, I was just talking to the guys at Celebrity who are launching a brand new ship in this environment in July, and they are seeing very, very strong bookings from 2022 onwards. And so there is a big return to market, and I do think, perversely, out of everything that everyone expected to happen, cruising will boom.
But if we've got this travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand and we're expecting to expand that to the Pacific Islands, when are we going to see those cruises resume?
Yeah, so the big challenge now is we're waiting for the government here in Australia on June 17 to announce what their intentions are. They haven't got to the cruising question and really come out with a solution for the cruise industry. And I think we're starting to get there. In the background, lots and lots of conversations going on. Viking Cruises, who are great, you know, we know them for river cruising in Europe, but now have some beautiful, big, not massive, actually about 800 people ships, 800 people cruise ships are about to start in New Zealand as well.
But there are dramas, and the reality is they have to prove to the government they're going to be okay. We saw what happened to the Ruby Princess, and we see what happens in hotel quarantine. So they've got to prove that they can stop any of that and deal with a potential outbreak. That's not easy.
It isn't, but they do have the evidence base. You know, like if you look at what Royal's been doing in Singapore, they've cruised 50,000 passengers since December 2020 have been on a cruise out of Singapore with absolutely...
Where to?
They do a 4-day nowhere cruise. So all they do, it's great. All you do is you get
Not
on
too
board.
different to a virtual cruise.
That's it, yeah, except you do get on board. Yeah, and that's a beautiful big ship. 4,500 is its capacity, but it's running at about 50% capacity. They've proven that they can do it.
They could easily do it here.
And they can do it safely. And yes, they could easily do it here, Karl. It's just we've got to get the government to come on board. The cruise lines have been working really, really hard in the background.
Well, imagine if you have everyone vaccinated too, that's going to help matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, as we all know, and we've been saying for ages, we've got to accelerate the rollout of the vaccine. But we could cruise, Ali, without vaccines here in Australia quite easily. And the cruise lines have shown that they can do it, and they've actually got the evidence to do it.
Well, Ali and I are happy to be the faces of cruising in Australia.
All right, Karl, be careful what you say,
imagine.
because I have been saying for ages I could find the cruise for you. I mean, just quickly, sorry guys, I know we're going to wrap it up, but, you know, we are cruising in Australia. If you have under 100 passengers, including guests and staff, under 100, you can cruise. So, for example, True North up in the Kimberley.
Yeah, beautiful.
Unbelievable. Now, that is a fantastic... And you can... I think they're booked out, but you can do that kind of cruising. The guys at Coral Expeditions are still cruising out of Queensland as well. So there are a few things here and there.
Sounds like he knows
Good
someone.
stuff. Yeah.
I can sort it out for you,
He's
buddy.
a good friend to have.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, buddy.